Welcome back to another episode of Caitlyn's Critter Corner. Today, we are going to be diving beak first into the world of the Humboldt Penguins at the Aquarium of Niagara.
Have you ever been licked by a cat? Now, I know you're probably thinking, Caitlyn, have you gone crazy? I thought we were talking about penguins here. Well, yes, I may fall under the definition of a crazy cat lady. I promise you, this topic does relate. One cool fact about Humboldts is that they have prickly spines on their tongues, similar to that signature sandpapery tongue of a cat. They use this spiny tongue to grip fish and swallow them whole without the use of opposable thumbs. The Humboldt Penguin is named after explorer Alexander von Humboldt, who in 1799 discovered these little penguins, as well as the cold water current that runs along the coast of South America, now known as the Humboldt Current. Just like Alexander von Humboldt, these penguins are fantastic navigators, with clear vision both above and below the water's surface, and the ability to swim at 30 miles per hour and dive up to 500 feet in depth.
So we are here in the Humboldt Penguin exhibit, and I am with Megan. She is one of the trainers here, and right now it is feeding time. So I thought we'd ask a few questions here. So where are these guys from?
So our penguins are a Humboldt penguin, which are native to South America, in particular Chile and Peru. But these guys here in particular were actually all born under human care. So a lot of them were born here at the Aquarium of Niagara, but some others came from places like Seattle, Philadelphia, Chicago, all over the country. Our facility is part of the species survival plan for the Humboldt penguins, which means we work with other facilities all across the country to kind of move these penguins around to find good matches between some breeding pairs, and that is because some of their wild counterparts are struggling a little bit when it comes to human interaction and some invasive species, some habitat destruction. So we are trying to make sure that we have a nice, healthy genetic population under human care. So if their wild counterparts ever need some assistance in boosting up that population, we're able to help.
Since it's feeding time, do you want to talk a little bit about their diet?
Yeah, so Allie in that bucket has a ton of fish. We have a bunch of different types of fish that all kind of correlate to us with like the food pyramid. Some are some protein-based fish, some are some water and mineral-based fish, but one of the most important fish that we actually don't have in there today, but we have every once in a while, are anchovies. So that is their favorite fish ever. That is what they would naturally be eating. Peruvian anchovies are their favorite thing. But unfortunately, that is also one of the causes for their decline out in the wild, because humans eat anchovies, whether you agree if that's a good choice or not. It is in Caesar salad dressing. It is on pizza sometimes. But typically, when humans like something, they take a little bit more than they should from other animals that rely on it. So anchovies are being super over-harvested, leaving a lot of these guys with some depletion of food sources, which is why we limit how much anchovies we give them and actually source all of our seafood sustainably, making sure it's coming from ethically sourced places where nothing is getting overfished or over-harvested and hurting other animals.
So I see these little colored bands on their flippers.
Yeah.
Assuming that's for identification purposes.
Exactly. So those bands on their wings, we use to identify them in a couple different ways. Penguins do not show any sexual dimorphism. Like if you think of cardinals, males are super bright red and females are that dull brown color. But penguins all kind of look the same regardless. So if a band is on their left wing, it is a female. Right, it is a male, and the only way we're able to tell if it is a male or female is through a blood test, and you're looking at DNA. So that is how we're able to tell male from female. And then if you see two bands of the same color, we have two blues over there, we have two greens, two reds, that symbolizes a mated pair. We have 5 mated pairs here, and we are all hoping that they will be successful in that breeding program. In the green band, we have a mated pair. We have one up here and then one in the water. They came from 2 different facilities. So one came from a facility in Chicago, Brookfield Zoo, and then the other one came from Philadelphia. And then those facilities that have Humboldt penguins are also part of that breeding program. So those are some of the zoos we work very closely with when it comes to specifically the breeding program aspect of it. But yeah, there's a ton of places all over the country that are part of it, but those are some of the ones that we've had success with. So they came here not knowing each other. They met and then sparks flew, fell in love, classic love story, and now we're hoping that they'll have some chicks this upcoming breeding season. It'll be very exciting.
And who's the oldest?
The oldest is that big man right there. He is 30 years old, and penguins typically live to only be about 15 to 18, so he is double that life expectancy.
That's what I was reading, so I was like, wow.
Yeah, so even though he's double that age, he is very, very healthy considering, just like with people, the older an animal gets, the more health issues they may have, but having a vet right next door is super helpful. Knowing where their food is coming from, and then also not having any predators to worry about.
And speaking of the vet, let's go and meet him.
So here we have Dr. Carl. He is the primary vet here at the Aquarium of Niagara. And so tell me a few things about yourself. What do you do here?
Oh, well, I'm responsible for making sure that all these guys are healthy here. Basically, day to day, it really involves kind of listening and working closely with the husbandry staff. We walk around the aquarium once to twice a week with curators and also with relevant husbandry staff, and we look at all the animals. That involves like going to the backups and looking at fish. Sometimes we'll pull them out to look at them. We'll look at them, on exhibit as well. I always kind of cruise around as well and look at them. We're responsible, obviously, for some of our main attractions, which are, our sea turtle, which is new, and that was really fun to be part of, and making sure that Squirt was healthy. Also working with the penguins, or seals and sea lions on a regular basis, really, every time I'm here, so.
We, as humans, get like regular checkups, physicals. Is that something that you do with the penguins here?
Oh yeah, definitely. We look at all of our penguins once monthly, so we make sure that we at least look at every single one of them, do a physical exam every month, take a look at them back there, pick them up, kind of do a quick look over, look at their beaks, make sure that they don't have any recent wounds or anything like that, because they kind of get into scuffles sometimes. Sometimes we'll listen to their lungs, or we'll just assess their breathing, and we'll feel their belly, make sure their belly feels good, and then we'll also look at the bottoms of their feet and just check closely at their feet just to make sure that we're not missing anything.
And what are some health concerns that you might have with these penguins?
Penguins in general are really predisposed to respiratory disease based on the way that their respiratory system is developed. Their lungs are more like a mesh itself, and so they're not able to really kind of cough up or get rid of things kind of the same way, and there's sometimes a more direct route for particles or toxins that can get into them. For example, one of the ones that we are really always keeping an eye on is aspergillosis, which is a fungus that luckily it's not common in our penguins, because we're doing a good job at making sure that they don't get it by maintaining an appropriate environment for them. But they also get bumblefoot, which is, I'm sure you're aware of that. It's also called pododermatitis for all the medical nerds out there. It is essentially where they might get some abrasions on the bottoms of their feet, And they do a lot of walking around in their habitat. And so we're always keeping an eye out and just making sure that any minor abrasions or anything like that are treated quickly, which is one of the main reasons actually that we really do look at them as often as we do. Our staff do a really great job here. So, and we always reward them with fish afterwards. So our penguins are actually quite nice. We do try to keep them as wild as they can be, so they have kind of live their own natural life, but they definitely are pretty sweet as well to our trainers. There are a couple of penguins that they're not in love with me, but they might be in love with some other people at the aquarium.
Hi, baby.
Come over here and say hi. He is very into recently pretending that we're birds and like cleaning, like we have feathers on our hands and like trying to make sure we're staying nice and neat. So that's what he's doing. I don't know why he's like obsessed with doing that recently, but
Something I was curious about. I heard that they have a donkey-like mating call, and I was curious if that happens here in the aquarium at all.
yeah, so it surprises a lot of people how loud these animals are. We might be able to hear some, hopefully we'll hear some, but they are extremely loud, but they are found in colonies of hundreds to thousands of birds. So they need a way to kind of stand their ground, make a name for themselves out in that colony, and that big, loud vocalization is how they do that. He is very friendly. He might try to like, oh, now you're gonna fight your brother. Don't fight him.
Oh, is there two brothers?
Yeah. So he is him and his sister Jules, who is over there in that pink and black band. They were our first chicks hatched here in a very long time. Hey, you cannot bite him. That is not a nice thing to do. But yeah, so they were one of our first chicks in a very long time. So they are super used to being in the camera. He's modeling perfectly. They're very used to people, which is another reason these guys will never be released directly out into South America, because people out there are not going to bring him food in a bucket, and not let them bite their legs. So
They're certainly friendly.
yes.
When I say I'm like overwhelmed, I'm not kidding. I have always been a huge animal lover.
Yeah.
I worked in an animal hospital for a year. So animals are like one of my biggest passions in life.
Yeah, and that's
So my heart is very full right now.
yeah, it's a great field to be a part. It's a very rewarding field. Like every day we come in, something new is going on, something interesting, something fun is happening.
And
Every day is different, and working with them is so exciting. Never in a million years that I think I would be working with penguins, and I love it. I am very happy to have my penguin days with them. They have the Zoomies, perfect, the post-meal Zoomies.
wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, so typically that's how fast they'd be swimming to hunt fish, but they only really do that here when it's post-brunch, post-lunch, post-dinner, where they decide it is Zoomie time and they kind of go crazy. Sometimes one will go over and maybe nip the other one in the butt and then start a chain reaction of just bothering each other, but it's very funny. They have a very interesting relationship with each other, where sometimes they're like best of friends and exploring together, and other times it's like a whole soap opera up here.
I love it. I think I'm gonna have to visit the aquarium a little more often. Oh, this is
The pitter patter of them.
all right. So I feel very fortunate to be able to be up close and personal with the penguins like this. But I hear that there is a penguin encounter experience here at the aquarium.
Yeah, so we do offer penguin encounters Tuesdays through Sunday, where guests have the opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes tour of our penguin exhibit, how we as keepers go through our daily routine with our birds, and also get a chance to come face-to-face with some of the birds. We let them volunteer to come on out and say hi to people, come on out, visit whoever wants to come, be part of the penguin encounter experience. And you'll be up close personal with the penguins to see them play, see them interact with each other, and even get the opportunity to come on exhibit and see what it is like out here, experience what they experience.
While Humboldts face several threats in the wild, we're hoping that with a little help, these tuxedoed birds will continue waddling around Chile and Peru for years to come. Be sure to stop by their habitat next time you visit to see these amazing penguins up close.